Adam, you've just been murdered. How do you feel?
Fine. That's fine.
Have you enjoyed playing the game?
Yeah. My brief experience was pretty good. I'm assuming I was murdered because they thought I would be fine with that, and they're pretty much right. So that's good.
Is there someone in the group that you are suspicious of, and you want the rest of the group to keep an eye on for the remainder of the
Default
week?
suspicious of Claxton at all times, and also he's exactly the kind of person who'd be like, who doesn't mind being voted out the most? So early money is on him.
And who do you see in the final?
Meredith. I think Meredith would be good at it.
Mikey, we're about to go into the second night of voting. How are you feeling?
I feel safe. Everyone down there knows that I'm safe. I'm immune. I've been given the shield. I've got no chance of death. Little do they know, Daddy Seb has passed the shield to Scott.
Lewis, night 2, you've been voted out. How do you feel?
Quite frankly, furious. Because I was going in early, trying to fly under the radar. That was the strat for the first few nights, and I feel like I've been voted out because of 2 drunk bearded men, who were going on nothing but, phallic and scatological imagery.
I'm gonna be honest, I didn't know who to vote for, so I asked Google, pick a number from 1 to 12, which is the amount of people around the table, who to vote for. And wouldn't you believe it, the first number it picked was my boy, Michael Ansel. However, I didn't trust him. He's an innocent. I believe him implicitly. So I asked again, and it picked Lewis himself. I went with him. But what's weird is I picked him before I'd even asked Google for the second time. I'd already instructed my little minion, who has pledged his undying loyalty to me, Michael Ansel, to go for Lewis before Google had even told me for the second time that Lewis was the man. And wouldn't you know, he was the fucking traitor. 1 for 1. So who knows? Maybe tomorrow night I'll vote for someone and they could be one.
I think it seemed to, the decision making mostly seemed to be based on puns. So I don't know. I think people probably voted for Lewis for the same reason I voted for Nad, Among Us excluded, in that, like, I actually do suspect Nad. I do think she's sort of slipping under the radar. I think it's very interesting that she came for a confessional despite not sort of saying she didn't have much to contribute to the round table. I think from a metagaming perspective, I think she would round out the traitors that were already picked quite nicely. And I think, I don't want to, discriminate against people for being quiet, but I think everyone knows that it's in your best interest in this game to have something to say.
I'm not sus. Today on the kayak, not revealed at the round table because it was a slip of the tongue on the kayak, so it didn't quite feel enough evidence. Lewis said something about traitor. I was like, And on the kayak, there was no one else around, I said, right, so if I'm murdered tonight, because I think you're a traitor now, I'm going to have told one person, and they'll go for you tomorrow. So at the round table, before all voting, I told Meredith that Lewis had said that. And with that information, Meredith decided to vote for Lewis. And obviously, unexpectedly, Lewis has vanished. Just thought I'd share that information.
I was one of the 4 that voted for Lewis, so very happy about that. As kind of stated in the argument for it, he hadn't spoken too much, and just kind of all of the vibes were pointing that way, but also a shot in the dark simultaneously of he hadn't spoken, he could have just been tired. We kayaked 20 kilometres. Who knows? But happy either way.
There is a part of me that is relieved because I was not voted for particularly, and especially relieved because Lewis voted for me and turned out to be a traitor. Which should hopefully cast some like confidence in my status as a faithful.
Short term, very bad. Did not see that coming at all. I will say my plan tonight was to lie and say that Meredith had told me that she was a traitor as a joke, and just sort of like have a bit of fun with that, but I didn't get a chance to do that before the start, so I was like, okay, we'll just go with it. Did not expect Lewis to die, but it happened. I will say long term though, I feel like I'm looking quite trustworthy, you know? I'm kind of feeling that. No votes tonight. I thought David and Meredith were going to vote for me tonight because they were sussing me last night. That's changed, so we'll take that. And we're just going to work out what we're doing tonight.
Seb and Mikey and Scott have a tryst in terms of, you know, it was the three of them all making a silly joke that turned things again. Lucy also voted that same way, but was quiet and did also provide somewhat helpful information at the table. So if she is a traitor, she's either doing a great job of hiding it and flying under the radar, or she's unluckily got caught up in the boys. But again, I think it's unlikely she would vote for another traitor, especially if that would put her as the last one left. So I think actually Lucy is really safe. But that also weirdly makes those three boys likely safe faithful, which, if those are the hopes that we're riding on, I would be kind of worried.
Right, it couldn't have gone better. They voted me, they didn't get me out. They got that bloody traitor. And even better, they still don't know Scott's on the team. This trust triangle of I don't know how many faithful people. We've got Scott, we've got Seb, we've got me. We're gonna win this shit. We're gonna get those traitors out. We're one more down.
What I've done is I've given... So, Mikey gave me the shield, and I've given Mikey back the shield. And I think I've built up a bit of trust between Mikey and Seb. I think the idea of recruitment is going to throw a bit of a spanner in the works in terms of because people are going to be suspicious of people that they trust at the moment. I think that's the spanner in the works, because I think aside from that, things are looking like alright on my perspective, but bad for the traitor team in total. I can't believe it. My plan was to get Lewis to get me out at some point, because I thought he was looking so shit, and then they just thought Lupus was funny.
I'm surprised that I got the right person, honestly. I voted for Lewis because I could misspell his name quite easily as Louis, and it turns out he was a traitor, so...
But I would like to say that I do love everybody. I love them so much, and I've really enjoyed the game. Thank you very much for having me.
It has not gone well. 2 nights, 2 traitors banished, both with no reason, no logic. So that's been delightful. And the last traitor that remains has behaved suspicious as all fuck, and caused so many problems. But right now, he's currently in the middle of marinating Nad, trying to convince her that he's deciding whether to tell people that he has the shield or not, and having a secret conversation at the dinner table about this. So I think somehow he's going to get away with it, but I'm not happy about the situation.
Is there anyone on Team Faithful that you think's doing a good job?
I'm fairly certain that most people voted for Lewis because his name sounds like toilets. So I don't think it was like great deduction. Sam is trying very hard. He is thinking about it a lot. He keeps talking to me about it, and I keep saying okay. And yeah, as Abby pointed out earlier, the only people who managed to bring any actual information to the table were women. But unfortunately, Seb was shouting a lot, so not many of the points got heard.
Let's see what Night 3 brings.
I can't wait for another traitor to get banished.
Why would you not join?